That's the sound of the pump stopping. The water hammer as the momentum of the column of water gets to a stop and then starts running back to fill. You get that water hammer. The level of the river has dropped considerably. This is beached again, but at least now it's in a spot that's easy to refloat it because the side of the bank drops steeply there. I'll have to let out the cables a little bit. But I want to do a full update. I haven't done a proper one in a while, and I'm gonna do it from the mountain because we're here on a two-part mission. Right, so before we start, I'm experimenting a bit with the sound because bad sounds in video is really frustrating. So let's see the difference between the sound directly from the camera and the sound with the aid of the phone and the microphone. Should be better. I should be able to cut out some of the wind noise. The baboons are just up here. I'm not going to swing the camera around. In the next stage of this film, I'll try and see if I can just catch these ones as well as Baboon Island. But first of all, let's do that update. As everyone knows, a lot of rain has been falling. The river showed small increases in levels, but with all the different rivers combined, because the rain was so widespread, it actually mounted up to quite a bit of water. But the measurements at Department of Water Affairs was not really good and up to date. So it took a bit of time before everything started to show. The dams where the most reliable measurements are made is a little bit later down, so you get the measurements later. The Vaal Dam is at 106%, inflow is about 800 cubic, outflow is about 750 cubic. There's a lot of contributing rivers between the Vaal and the Bloemhof, which pushed up Bloemhof's inflow up to 1,500 cubic, and Bloemhof is back up to 109%. That was quite quick. And the outflow at Bloemhof, they opened up to 1,200 cubic, so that's coming down the Vaal River. Then Gariep was the one with the biggest inflow. That went up to, I think, close to 2,000 cubic. It's now back down to 1,800 cubic. And at Gariep, the dam level is up to 98%, and they already started using full capacity hydroelectrical generation. And that's where things get a bit interesting, because if they are currently allowing about 700 cubics to go out of Gariep. It differs. It depends on where you look. It's anything from 600 to 700 cubic. The inflow into Van der Kloof is currently 700. With increase in Gariep, the numbers don't all make sense. But if Gariep is using 700 cubic to generate electricity, Van der Kloof can do the same, because that inflow goes into Van der Kloof, and then they can use that same amount to generate electricity going out of Van der Kloof. Van der Kloof is up to 102%. Inflow 700, outflow 600, which also means just about full electrical generation. The current weather forecast is down quite a bit. Looking all over, there's still rain forecast, but much less. Who in South Africa doesn't know that sound? Now, the situation around Koga, I don't know yet whether any of the recent forecasts has actually materialized. We'll hear from them shortly, hopefully still today. Right, from the editing bench, this is water coming down the Groot rivier. This joins the Gamtoos rivier below the reservoirs, below Koga Dam. So it does not add water to the dam, but at least it does complement the water available for them to mix, use for irrigation water. But the forecast is diminished. 2 days before the event, the forecast was quite high. and then it diminishes as it gets closer, and that's been the trend for the last 7 years. If you talk to a farmer in that area and tell him, well, there's a rain forecast for so many millimeters, he says, doesn't matter, it doesn't rain, because it's showing rain forecast all the time and then it doesn't rain. Some viewers have commented who actually live in the Langkloof and that area, and they say the same thing. They get small amounts of rain, enough to keep the countryside green, but not enough to fill any of the reservoirs. And then for most of you who's watching my videos are interested in rivers and water levels, and there's some exciting news. Launched yesterday on a Falcon 9 rocket was a NASA satellite that they call the SWAT. It's a surface water ocean topography satellite, and what it does, it measures water levels on the whole planet. Well, 91% of the planet. It doesn't cover the poles. And the measurements that it takes, they say it's the immediate measurements accurate up to about half a meter, 500 millimeters, and then with further processing of those measurements with all the other instruments combined, they can get it to 30 millimeters. But that means that we will not be any longer dependent on individual stations with their own calibrations for measurements. That once that satellite starts giving us data, we can have accuracy of measurements up to 30 millimeters, well, 30 millimeters probably like that, all over the world. And that's both ocean and river. And it also does the measurement of the surface area, which means that they have actually a lot of information coming in from that data. Because if you look at a river is like a V shape with a flat bottom, a U shape rather. No, more a V shape, because it goes wider as it gets higher, and the same with reservoirs. So just looking at the surface area doesn't give you the full picture of the volume. You can have a large, flat, shallow dam, and you can have a narrow, deeper dam with more water. So, but because they gather a lot of information, they can take the different depths and then the surface area at each depth, and they can calculate from that both the volume of the rivers and the volume of the dams, but they can also calculate from that, as time passes, the flow volumes. So it's like taking, yeah, it gives a whole new dimension, like what Google Earth did for maps. You can just go anywhere in the world and look at what's happening. This is going to be quite similar to that. Now, it isn't live everywhere, so it doesn't give you the live information from a specific point all the time everywhere. It will pass roughly nearer the equator, where the trajectory of the satellite is more difficult to describe. But look at satellite trajectories. There it will pass by a specific point about once every 10 days, and nearer the higher and lower latitudes it will pass by every a specific point closer to about 3 to 4 days, every 3 to 4 days. So it can give you a measurement every 3 to 4 days in the higher latitudes. So that'll give us a lot of information. I'm quite excited about that. I'm sure it will take some time before there's enough data to start filling in to do all those calculations with. But hopefully, I think in the next 6 months or so, you can expect to start seeing something out of it. That's my estimate. I haven't seen a date given from them as to when it will start, but we'll see about that. That sounds interesting. So that's going to be this video. I'm not going to combine the Baboon Island video into this one. Some disciplinary action going on there, it seems. So just because updates like this is time sensitive, I mean, it's the update of the data that I have now. the Baboon Island thing can take time to edit and time to explore, and I might need to come again and do another video. So hopefully I'll get it out today, but if not, tomorrow, because I haven't been able to spot them yet. And if I can't spot them, I found, and I've been here a couple of times trying to film, if I can't spot them, then it becomes very difficult to find them also with a drone. So no guarantee that it will be a success, but we'll see. We'll find something, and even if it's unsuccessful, it's still interesting to look at the island. Anyways, I've been rambling. That's it for this video. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.